I was on my way to write a piece about how Tesla stock has gone way up despite flat to down sales and continuing severe problems with Cybertruck. That's definitely not your cue to short Tesla, though. As John Maynard Keynes said, the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. It occurred to me that I really ought to look at Nvidia to see just how bubble-licious they are. Are they like Tesla? Do they have any, is there any there? Nvidia has a software interface to their parallel computing architecture called CUDA. What CUDA does is conceptually simple. You can tell CUDA what computation you want performed, and it will perform that computation in parallel. You can do convenient things like specifying just how many GPU cores you think you need for that computation, collect profiling data and stuff like that. But it's super simple conceptually. Why hasn't everybody cloned CUDA to compete against Nvidia as a drop-in replacement for Nvidia GPUs in AI computing? Nvidia's profit margins and market share are what make Nvidia the most valuable company on the planet. Everybody is gunning for them. Nvidia's position can't be very secure, can it? To answer that, you have to go back to intellectual property disputes between makers of graphics chips and drivers for those chips. Everybody who made graphics chips sued everybody else who made graphics chips for patent infringement in one way or another. This incentivized everybody who made graphics chips to make their driver layers closed source and especially opaque. That way people using those drivers didn't really know how the operations were implemented. That makes intellectual property disputes slower, more complex, and much more expensive. It also created a culture where open source drivers were rare and often incomplete in terms of features. This carried over into the use of GPUs for parallel computation, including, of course, in CUDA. It also means all of the companies making GPUs have a stable of ferocious lawyers. They're not afraid to deploy against their competitors. All this in addition to the fact that Nvidia makes really high-performance chips. They're good at what they do. It isn't just an intellectual property play. As CUDA emerged as the most widely used parallel computing interface for generative AI, only companies that could afford to build their own stack of tools and APIs on different underlying hardware architectures, often enough their own chip designs too, could get away from using CUDA and therefore Nvidia GPUs. And there are only a handful that can take this approach. And that is why, no matter what amazing hardware architecture competitors come up with, nobody's going to knock Nvidia out of the top spot in AI hardware, probably for the next 5 years at least. We will see some big companies like Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, and Google try to roll their own AI architectures. Even if they don't all succeed, Nvidia's profit margins leave a lot of room for companies that can afford it to try. But those are strategies that take years and billions of dollars to play out.